states in the country that has a grocery tax. It generates approximately $10 million a year. The U.S. Department of Agriculture has ranked Arkansas number one for food insecurity for the last 2 years. If the bills are passed, they will go into effect in January 2026. Burton says they're also monitoring possible changes in federal funding because of cuts by the Trump administration.
Talk about cutting the federal budget. They are hurting low resource states like Arkansas because we are very dependent on all of the myriad of federal government programs, which have been funded for decades.
Nearly 11,000 more Arkansans are struggling to make ends meet. That in 2022 is estimated nearly 47% of Arkansas households are living paycheck to paycheck. Burton says those residents will be impacted the most by any changes.
Programs like SNAP and WIC and the Farm Bill, these are mission critical and central to the fight against food insecurity. In fact, 80% of food insecurity is solved through some form of federal nutrition program.
I'm Freda Ross, Arkansas News Service. Find our trust indicators at publicnewsservice.org.
File your taxes for free. You will not get a fund your tax refunds for your tax accounts. And all money you are owed. Arkansas community organizations is providing a free tax service in Hood and Pine Bluff. We will provide 2 free tax filing services. First, we will show you how to prepare your own taxes for free. We will use computers at our website. We will walk you through the process step by step. And we will file tax returns for those who may not have the ability to file on their own. If you live in Central Arkansas, for Pine Bluff and Southeast Arkansas, call 870-536-6300.
You've been down too long. Come over.
Y'all, am I clear this morning, y'all? Am I clear this morning, y'all? Am I clear this morning, y'all? Yes, you're listening to Community Voices right here live at KABF 88.3 FM, where we are the voice of the people. The phone lines are open at 501-433-0088. You can call in and lend your voice to the conversation. This is Community Voices with your host, the Reverend Doctor. You can call me Denise. I'm solo in the station this morning. I'm solo in the studio. Toney is at the Capitol helping the people. I'm sure he'll tell you all about it when he gets back. So I am glad that you all have joined us. Every time you show up in this space, I get tickled. Just glad that you have decided that it is worth your while to show up at 9 o'clock in the morning right here at 88.3 FM, all the way to the left. We are grateful for you, for all that you do. Those of you who are at the Capitol right now, those of you who have sent in your pink tickets, those of you who are sending in pink tickets right now, those of you who are working in other ways for our liberation, all of what you are doing to show up for us, for that we are grateful. I do have a couple of announcements that I need to make this morning, and then we will continue to talk. We're going to talk about Roberta Flack. That was Roberta Flack singing Go Up, Moses. That's the name of that song. In just a minute, here are the announcements that I have for today. From May 27th to June 8th, there will be a showing of Me and the Devil walking side by side. It is a movie rated PG for adult situations, and it is by Steve H. Broadnax III. And if any of you see this flyer, yes, the man in the red with the hat on is Virgil Miller. No, he is not acting in the movie, but he is a model for the marketing. Ain't that so? Blew me away. Also want to make sure that you know that there's another film that's being shown on Saturday, March 22nd from 9:30, starting at 9:30 a.m. It's at the Ron Robinson Theater, Central Arkansas Library System, and it's called No Other Land. It is a 2025 Academy Award-winning Best Documentary Film, and it supports conversations around people in Palestine. And then the only other announcement that I have for you this morning is about the session. Tomorrow, I will also be at the Capitol working on hopefully testifying. If you know how they do, you set up to testify and then they try to act like they make out, you know how they do. But anyway, the bill is running for youth fines and fees. We want to eliminate youth fines and fees. It's already passed the Senate Judiciary and we're trying to push it through the House. And so it's called SB 340, Senate Bill 340. And here's another place where those of you who do this kind of work, you can call your representatives, the representatives on the Youth and Aging Committee, and ask them to support the bill. We want to get rid of youth fines and fees because they target people who can't pay them. And so you're putting them in constant debt, and then you're using that debt as a way to criminalize them, and then you criminalize them so that you can enslave them. So we want to get rid of these fines and these fees. That's what we'll be doing tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. SB 340, call, tell your people to support the bill. Those are all of the announcements that I'm going to make this morning. So now let's get ready for our EJI tidbit for today. Going right in line with our song. This happened on March 17th. March 17th in 1886. March 17th in 1886. Today, I don't usually do this. Usually I just read the tidbit off of the calendar, but this time I want to read, if you get the emails, you sign up for the emails, what I'm about to read is what you see on the emails. So I want to read this whole thing. On March 17th, 1886, 23 people, Black people, were killed when a white mob stormed the courthouse in Carroll County, Mississippi, and opened fire on local Black residents. Black residents were in court following accusations against a white man for the assault of two brothers, Ed and Charlie Brown. The brothers, who were Black, had accused local attorney James Monroe Liddell, who was white, of assaulting them during an altercation in February 1886. That Black residents would use the legal system to try to hold a white person accountable for a crime infuriated white residents of the county. On March 17th, the day of the trial, a group of 50 to 100 white men rode into town and ran into the courthouse, opening fire and killing 23 of the Black residents in attendance. None of the white people in attendance were hit by bullets. Though the killing sparked outrage nationwide, no action was taken by the county or the state of Mississippi. No one was ever tried for the murders. The governor of Mississippi, Robert Lowry, commented that the riot was provoked and perpetuated by the outrage and conduct of the Negroes. In Washington, D.C., Black politicians met with President Grover Cleveland and introduced legislation in Congress calling for an investigation into the massacre. But the federal government also refused to respond. Bullet holes remained in the courthouse walls until the building was renovated in the 1990s. That's our tidbit for today from the Equal Justice Initiative. So much in there. I'm not sure that I have the time to work through tease out all of the nuances of what's in there, but I do want us to focus on the courthouse. The fact that Black people are exercising their rights to use legal ramifications for when they have been harmed, when they have been mistreated, when they have been discriminated against. For whatever reason, you say, I need to seek a legal redress for this. That's what the court is for. And the court is supposed to be for all the people. So the Black people dare to go to the courthouse to get their just due. The white folks so mad. How How dare you use what? Our courthouse. That sounds like January 6th to me. This is our courthouse. So we're going to storm the courthouse like they stormed the Capitol, and we're going to wreak havoc. And as a matter of fact, somebody going to get killed. And in 1886, 23 Black people got killed. Now, it was only 2 brothers seeking legal redress, but 23 people got killed because they just opened fire in the courthouse. They didn't care if you was Black and getting shot. You don't deserve to be up in here. And then they had the audacity to blame the Black folks. How dare you raise up and think you have rights? How dare you raise up and think that you can confront me as a white man? How dare you raise up and use your voice? How dare you raise up and recognize your divinity? How dare you stand 10 toes down on business? We gonna show you. And they killed the 23 people. Remind me of today, right now. How dare you expect DEI? How dare you expect affirmative action? How dare you expect voter? You're not gonna get anything from this courthouse. You're not going to get anything from this legislature. You're not going to get anything from this federal government. That is the message in 1886, and I dare say it is the message today, which leads me to our conversation. And I feel like I'm at church today. This is what I do when I'm about to preach. I feel like I'm at church today. I say, I want to let you know, if I had to have a topic, if I needed to come up with a title for what we're talking about. Oh, look at Lo right here. Look at what Lo says. Lo says, a leopard does not change its spots. That violent behavior of white folks has been here since the founding. A leopard does not change its spots. That violent behavior of white folks has been here since the founding. I agree with you 100%, which is why I'm proposing today the title of this session of Community Voices. I don't usually give titles. I probably never will again. But today the name of it is Hope is Dead. That's the name of it. Hope is Dead. I thought about this Thursday. We were on the workplace. Toney was hosting the workplace. We had a special guest in the studio, Kwame Abdul-Bey, and I was sitting in the studio as well as the co-host. And we got to a point in the conversation when Toney was talking about white people, especially poor white people, but white people as a whole, as a collective, as a community, they need to get to the point where they can realize that what you're going through isn't very much different than what we're going through, you poor white people. So if we could work together, then we would be able to get free. And so I challenged that notion because I said it makes me feel like my liberation is tied to white folks, that I have to be dependent on them in order to be free. And then Toney came back and said something like, well, I'm just hopeful. And in that moment, my soul leapt inside of me. Hopeful? What is you hoping for? And I think I probably said something like that. Like, you still hoping? You still hoping? This stuff happened to these people in 1886, where they used the power of the courthouse to kill Black folks. That is still happening now. And some of us out here talking about, but I'm just hopeful. And then he threw humanity in. I wish he was here today. Baby, I wish he was here today. But he's not here. And that was not by design. I was hoping he was here. Wait a minute. Let me get this in for what Lo says. It is not in their DNA to work cooperatively. That spirit of rugged individualism. It is not in there, talking about the system of whiteness, the system of white inhumanity. It is not in their DNA to work cooperatively. That spirit of rugged individualism. And so I listen, y'all, I've been thinking about that since Thursday. And so I started wondering, like, if I wanted to trace back this idea, and I'm not trying to trace it all the way back to our ancestry. That's not what I'm trying to do. I was just trying to find a firm foundation on which I could stand to make my argument that hope is dead. And I kept thinking about somebody who talks to me, somebody who calls me on the phone, who is a listener. Every now and then he'll say to me, keep hope alive. And I thought about that, and I said, that came from Jesse Jackson. Jesse Jackson, I'm talking about the civil rights activist who was the protege of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I'm not talking about his son, the third. I'm talking about the daddy. He was a protege of Martin Luther King Jr., which simply means Martin Luther King Jr. was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was his mentor. Dr. King looked at him and saw that there was something in him that he could nurture, that he could develop, so that Jesse Jackson, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, could come into and live into the fullness of who he is as a civil rights activist. Dr. King saw potential. He could tell he was Jesse Jackson was younger, he was less experienced, and so Dr. King said, okay, I see something in you. And so he took Jesse Jackson under his wing, and Jesse Jackson began to operate in the realm of the civil rights. And that is how basically his claim to fame, and I'm using air quotes, whatever fame means to you. And so at some point, Jesse Jackson, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, decided to run for president of the United States. And the day before his nomination, the official nomination, we're going to do this on July 20th in 1988. That was going to be the day that he actually made it his nomination, being on the ticket for United States president. And so here he is on the 19th, the day before, with his campaign speech. And his campaign speech is tied to this notion about the Rainbow Coalition. We know the Rainbow Coalition, you think about the rainbow, you think about all of the colors, and all throughout his speech, he is weaving the words of common ground. We need everybody to come together. And these are the words that he uses: yellow, black, green, not green, yellow, black, what we say, red. These are the words that he's using to say we need to all come together. If we can find common ground, where do we find common ground? We find it at the challenge. We meet it at those places where all of us can converge because we're dealing with the same thing. Everybody who lacks access to healthcare, we can find common ground on that issue. Everybody who's concerned about education, we can find common ground on that issue. Everybody that's worried about housing, we can find common ground. So this is how he's well, it felt like preaching to me. I was reading it, but I felt like I was hearing it like it was a sermon. And so he's talking about that and talking about that and talking about that. And then he says something about what's going to help us get there is hope. He uses that one time. I only remember it being used one time throughout the speech. But at the end of the speech is when he says his tagline, his exit, his outro. If we're listening to music, his outro is keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. On tomorrow night and beyond, keep hope alive. And we've been saying that ever since 1988. We might have been saying that before then. I don't know. Like I said, I just wanted to find some firm foundation, and I found it right here in Jesse Jackson's speech. Keep hope alive. In Jesse Jackson's speech, he brings up two bills in particular that he felt were necessary so that he could let people know, I'm gonna work. I'm laying out my platform for you. I want you to know that I know what it means to be denied. I know what it means to go without. I know what it means to lack. I know what it means to feel like less than. So I'm going to be your president, and I'm going to make sure that you know that I'm working on all of these issues. And so he's laying out his platform. And one of the bills was introduced by John Conyers, who is a Democrat from Michigan, who was serving from 1965 to 2017. That's a long time. And this one bill that John Conyers wanted sponsored was the universal on-site same-day voter registration everywhere bill that he was sponsoring. So everywhere you live in the United States, this bill will allow you that you can have on-site same-day voter registration so that everybody, then we will really be talking about a democracy, at least in the States, that everybody would be able to have your voice heard by your one vote and your one voice. That is what he was fighting for. This is what he was sponsoring. And Jesse Jackson uses it in his speech when he's telling us to keep hope alive. Well, let's think about that for just a moment, because it was not that long ago. I want to say it was in June on June 25th in 2013 that the Supreme Court of the United States of America in Shelby versus Holder, Shelby v. Holder, decided to gut a significant portion of Section 4 of the Voting Rights Act. So Jesse Jackson in 1988 is saying, keep hope alive because we're about to work to get you universal same-day on-site registration everywhere so everybody's vote can be honored, everybody's voice can be heard through their vote, everybody can exercise their power through the ballot box. This is what I'm fighting for in 1988, and I want you to keep hope alive. And yet in 2013, the Supreme Court of the United States that's got a black man sitting on it voted to gut the portion of the Voting Rights Act that specifically, I don't want to say specifically, but it was definitely going to be in favor of black folks, because that was the part of the Voting Rights Act that said, listen, y'all, we got a history of doing wrong, especially by black folks, especially as it relates to voting. And we recognize that. And we know that there are certain jurisdictions within our country that's got it shown up bad. So anytime you want to make some kind of change to the way that you are doing things in the electoral arena, we need you to pass. We need to see it. We want to see it. We want to approve it. We want to give you the go ahead because we want to make sure that you are being fair. We want to make sure that you are being equitable. We want to make sure that you are towing the line about what it means to really live into racial reconciliation, where we realize and recognize that race is nothing but a construct. It should not be a barrier to anybody for anything. And so we put this in place to protect you, and it definitely protected black folks. And so in 1888, we need to keep hope alive, only to turn around in 2013 and they gut Section 4. Hope is dead. That's my argument. Another bill that Jesse Jackson brings up, it's the Dellums bill. He's calling it the Dellums bill, and he's using the names of the people who are sponsoring it. So that's why he's using this name in the speech, because he's giving you the signal. Those of us who are geeks like me, Dellums bill. Okay, wait a minute, let me go look up Dellums so I can know what this is. So that's why he's calling it the Dellums bill in his speech. Wait, let me get this from Lowe. Here is the banana in the tailpipe. The Voting Rights Act has language that it has to be re-ratified every 25 years. Here is the banana in the tailpipe. The Voting Rights Act has language that it has to be re-ratified every 25 years. Okay, that's good to know, but they didn't have to re-ratify it and get the Section 4. They didn't have to re-ratify it in that way. So the Dellums bill. Now this is a bill that relates to foreign policy. How are we as the United States going to interact with those people that are beyond our borders? These people that are in other countries, how are we going to be diplomatic with them to get the work done that we need to do on a universal basis? How are we going to do that? And so Lowe is letting me know what he was saying. So Lowe says, here's the banana in the tailpipe. The Voting Rights Act has language that it has to be re-ratified every 25 years, and meaning that it's not permanent. Okay. So you're saying even though they nobody's sitting there, even though they gutted the Section 4 of the Voting Rights Act, Lowe is saying, well, that even if they did do that, it can only last for 25 years. So it's possible that we can have a change. You don't want to get on? You want to get on? Yeah. Toney just walked in. I'm not really sure what he's doing, and so I'm just trying to talk to y'all and talk to him at the same time. Okay, thank you, Phil. Okay, thank you, Lowe. So that's what Lowe's saying, keep hope alive, because in 25 years, maybe they will do the right thing. And I'm saying my argument today is hope is dead. Okay, so here we are with this Dellums bill. It's about foreign policy, and it is specifically for the United States to make a commitment to enforce comprehensive sanctions on South Africa. Because during this time, they were fighting, the United States is saying, okay, we're going to fight apartheid in South Africa. We are going to work as a country because we realize the harm, we realize the dehumanization, we realize the trauma, we realize the injustice of it all. And we want the United States to step in and issue sanctions on South Africa so that this practice will stop. That is what we are going to do through this Dellums bill. So again, Jesse Jackson is laying out his platform. We're going to work to end apartheid in South Africa. The thing is right there in one of those, it's right there in the pocket, in the book bag. So we're going to work to end this foreign policy in the other side, in the back part right there, in the pocket, yes. We're going to work to end this foreign policy, the end apartheid through this foreign policy in the Dellums bill. We're going to make a commitment to issue the sanctions. Okay, wait a minute. Let me see what Lois is saying. That was what the John Lewis Voting Rights Bill does in restoring those rights. Yeah, that's what the John Lewis Voting Rights Bill does, but have they passed it? Okay, so here we are. We're gonna issue these sanctions onto South Africa because, yeah, exactly, they have not passed the John Lewis Voting Rights Bill. Now keep hope alive, but they have not passed the John Lewis Voting Rights Bill because my argument is hope is dead. And so here they are saying we're going to work to end apartheid in South Africa. We're going to do that through these sanctions. Now, that was in 1988. This is Jesse Jackson on his platform because he's being nominated for the presidency of the United States on the next night, on July 20th. So this is July 19th, 1988. And he ends his speech with keep hope alive, keep hope alive, keep hope alive on tomorrow night and beyond. Keep hope alive. Okay. So here we are hoping, Jesse, all of us that's going around saying keep hope alive. And let's think about what's happening now in our country with this administration that's being led by Elon Musk. He has been invited to lead our country, and he is a South African apartheidist, meaning that he is in favor of apartheid. That's who he is. Check his record. You don't have to take my word for it. Just roll it back and you can see for yourself. So we've been keeping hope alive since 1988, only to end up in 2025. And you have the president, Donald Trump, who has bowed down to Elon Musk, a South African apartheidist, to say, oh, okay, you can tell us what to do. How? Well, hope is dead. That's my argument. Okay, y'all, Toney is here. I need to stop for a moment. I don't know what you want to say. I don't know whatever you need to do.
Good morning, everybody. I'm just coming in on the tail end of the conversation. I have two thoughts on it. One is that I believe that hope, it reminds me of the movie The Shawshank Redemption, where Morgan Freeman is against hope. He said, there's no hope. We're in prison. We got this going on. And the character Andy Dufresne said, hope is a good thing. You have to keep hope because hope is a motivating factor keeping you, giving you the idea that, okay, you can overcome this. This can turn out to be a good thing in your favor. But I also, leaving the state capitol this morning in a committee meeting and listening to these legislators who aren't listening to the constituents, not listening to what the people are saying. And in that sense, you're like, where is the hope? I'm hoping that they will listen. I'm hoping that they will change. And in that aspect, and on the flip side of keeping hope alive, you have to also think, well, my hope is dead because my hope is in these people. My hope is in this situation. My hope is in this system. And right now, this system seems dead when it comes to my needs, my survival, my community. It seems like it does not. It's not going to matter. So where is the hope in that? And so like I said, I understand both sides of it. I understand when you see what's going on. And Denise, you are right. You know, people, I think a lot of times people are hoping for something new. And once they get it, they realize, "Oh, this is what I didn't hope for, but this is what I got." And then they want to turn around and change it because the one thing about apartheid not only was it's about oppressing minorities, oppressing Black people in South Africa, but it was also about keeping the power structure the same. And that's what Elon Musk is doing, is making sure that the power structure in this country, which goes back to how this country was found with white male landowners, white males who are in power and uh, who are financially at the top, and that's what you see going on now. So I can understand how hope seems dead.
Caller, please call back. I know you've called twice. I was trying to let Tony finish. I didn't want to interrupt his soliloquy, and so please call back so that you can I can get you on. And here is Lo saying, we as Black folks have been hoping for over 400 years. Yes, some things have changed while others have gotten worse. We as Black folks have been hoping for over 400 years. Yes, some things have changed while others have gotten worse. But the most important change we've been hoping for is liberation. And that has not come for us. So we've been hoping for 400 years for liberation, and we haven't gotten it. My argument is hope is dead. I thought that was the caller. Caller, you're live on the air at KABF at 8.3 FM. Thanks for calling. Good morning.
Good morning, those on the web. I wanted to just add a little something to the conversation. When they mention oppression and how long it takes for the Black minorities or those who are disenfranchised to receive anything, our government can spend billions and billions of dollars for their friends or their allies or their interests and appropriate money almost overnight. They'll send billions of dollars. And yesterday on a program Toney had, a young man who was investing money in real estate was worried about not being able to receive help for investment, which the government doesn't give help for investment. But for those who qualify, they have certain types of help that was laid on that had been denied certain types of help, and she was a renter. And there's a program called Section 8, where it takes years to sometimes receive the benefits of a Section 8 program, where it only takes days or months for interests of the United States government to receive billions of dollars. And that Section 8 actually helps a lot of the minorities and the disenfranchised, those who have problems with shelter. And I just wanted someone to expound on that, some legal person, some legislator, or someone in the system to tell me why it takes years and years and years to get help for shelter when folks can get help for arms and ammunition, I guess poison for weapons. It sort of reminds me of what the gentleman said on Tony's show yesterday, that his son could get a loan for a car at a snap of a finger, but he couldn't get a loan to help refurbish houses to help the Black community. And with that, I'm going to get off, and hopefully someone will hear some of the things I said and be able to expound on. I really want someone from the legislative body to tell me why it is that you can be qualified, but you cannot receive assistance for shelter in years. It takes years for your number to come up or your name to come up and be qualified. And to me, I don't ever see anybody addressing that or saying anything about it, but they dicker over millions and millions and billions of dollars going out of the country to different interests. for war purposes and things like that. Thank you for your time, and hopefully somebody can expound on that point.
Okay. So first Ezekiel said he wanted people from the somebody from the legal field to answer the question about why we can't seem to get assistance with helping people in the ways that they need the help. And then he said he wanted people from the legislature. Well, the people from the legislature can't answer because they are in session right now. So we know that they're not going to call and answer. But if anybody else has an answer to the question, please call in. So I was thinking about Jesse Jackson because he's the one that I really think that really was the impetus for us to begin to talk about Keep Hope Alive. And I wanted to know his favorite songs, because I know back in that time when we wanted to protest or when we gathered together at church to organize and strategize, we always started with a song. So this song by Roberta Flack that I played at the very beginning, Go Up, Moses, was one of Jesse Jackson's favorite songs. And now it is one of my favorite songs. But he says, so Roberta Flack says, well, let me just go back. Many of us have heard the song, Go Down, Moses. Go down, Moses. Go to Pharaoh. Tell him to let my people go. Because it is, it's a direct connection to what happens in the book of Exodus for those people who know the Bible. And so the song, Go Down, Moses, and tell old Pharaoh to let my people go. That's what most of us, many of us, if you're familiar with the song, then that's how we have come to know it. That's how we've been oriented around it. Go down, Moses. Tell old Pharaoh to let my people go. Okay, so I think that Lo is answering Ezekiel's question. Rehab housing and housing for the least of these is not a priority. Rehab housing and housing for the least of these is not a priority. Why doesn't the government help? Because it's not a priority for them. So, caller, you're live on the air, KBF 88.3 FM. Thanks for calling.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First thing I would like to say is, evidently, the brother don't understand who is the slave and who is the white free man. You know, our consciousness, we have been made into something other than ourselves. We are dealing with evil spirits that come from a 100% devil that we operate on. And that's just the way it is. If you don't want to analyze what made me want to go spend my money on this, you are the one supporting it. You are the one gave them language, alphabets and everything, and you're supporting it right now. You still waiting on Jesus to come. You still got his language. You still eating sloppy food that he did. You doing everything just like you were getting your ass whooped to make you do it. But you're supposed to be free. You ain't free. Your culture comes from within yourself and how you think and operate. You are operating with white people's culture in your head. And it makes you sick. All those spirits have effect on you, affect your thinking and everything else, and you don't even know it in you. Run around here talking about you full of the Holy Spirit. Shit. Anyway, that's all I got to say.
Okay. Thank you, caller. Don't y'all love community voice? And I'm talking about we keep it real up in here. Yeah. My brother called in. King called in, landed down for us this morning. Thank you, caller. I really appreciate that. And let's think about that. The part when he said, we are the ones that gave them the alphabet. We are the ones that gave them the language. They are using that language to dehumanize us, and we are allowing it. And I am arguing it's because we are keeping hope alive. Because we've got our hope, and we got our hope in the very people who continue to prove to us over and over and over again that we are not a priority, we are not human, we are not worthy, we are not valuable, and yet Black folks still talking about keep hope alive. Hope is dead. That's my argument this morning. Here is Lo. Frederick Douglass said it best. It's easier to raise strong and educated children than to repair broken men and women. It is easier to raise strong and educated children than to repair broken men and women. Well, Frederick Douglass said that, and I've heard that several times, but I'm speaking to broken men and women right now. broken men and women, gender non-conforming, our third sex, whoever you are as human, however you see yourself. I'm speaking to you because all of us are broken. There's no way you cannot be broken, especially as a Black person in this country, because the system was designed to break you. So there's no way you have not been traumatized. There's no way that you have not been discriminated against. There's no way you have not been dehumanized. Like, all of that is part of being Black in America. And that causes problems, and it causes us to be broken. And so I'm talking to us because it is possible. It is possible for us to change our minds, to change our behavior, and rethink the way we're doing things, and listen to what Roberta Flack says. In the song, this is what she said. She said, first of all, go up, Moses. That's the name of the song. And she says, you've been down too long. Go up, Moses, because you've been down too long. Go up, Moses. You've been down too long. My people, listen to Roberta Flack, y'all, because she asked the question, am I clear? Am I clear this morning, y'all? Y'all heard her ask the question, am I clear this morning, y'all? She said, my people, let Pharaoh go. You don't need him. You don't need his tricks. You don't need his trinkets. All you have to do is let him go. Let him go. Let Pharaoh go. Pharaoh doesn't want you, but he needs you. Let Pharaoh go. Just wake up tomorrow morning and say, my people, let Pharaoh go. Go up, Moses. Without you, there is no Pharaoh. This is Roberta Flack. So all you have to do is let him go. All you have to do is let him go. Just wake up tomorrow morning and say, let him go. You have to let him go. My people, let Pharaoh go. I feel like Roberta Flack is saying, hope is dead. Let it go, because you keep hoping in a system that it's not even designed for you. Even if you say, well, wait a minute, but they amended the Constitution. Well, let's think about the 13th Amendment in particular. They amended the Constitution after the Civil War, because this is what they're supposed to be showing, and they're showing how now that we've had the Civil War, we're going to do things differently, and we're going to tackle this thing called race. So we're going to now make it, we're going to try to make it equal. Okay, this 13th Amendment, and it's supposed to abolish slavery. And then it says, wait, which is what the system does all the time. I need a caveat that gives me the ability to keep doing what I've been doing. At the beginning, we've abolished slavery. And so now we got hope, y'all. They done abolished slavery. So we're going to keep hope alive. And then they turn around and say, oh, but wait a minute. If you're a criminal, you can still be enslaved. So now what does the system do? It finds ways to keep you criminalized so that you can be a slave. So we keeping hope alive because the 18th Amendment, without understanding that very same amendment is designed to keep you from being free. And that's another reason I'm gonna give a plug for the tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. We'll be at the legislature for the youth fines and fees, because you don't pay these youth fines and fees, you end up being criminalized. And so that's part of the system that you put your hope in. Hope is dead. That's my argument this morning. Toney, do you have something to say?
Yeah, I think another thing that goes along with the discussion this morning, another aspect of this hope, and I've said this before, and I will continue to say it. On one level, I am a humanity person. I believe in humanity. And I think where I fight for humanity. And what is part of this hope is, I think there's a hope that people will wake up, all people will wake up and see that being treated inhumane, because people, white people are looking up now. They're waking up and they're seeing that their hope of what they thought they were going to have, as you said, Denise, they give you a caveat on this end, where they tell you good things at the front door, but all the time they're coming through your back door, taking everything away from you. And there was this hope that there's going to be a change. And then they find out because the system is there to benefit one section. When you talk about Pharaoh, his system was built to benefit them, to benefit the people he wanted to benefit, and everybody else forget you. And when you talk about how come we can't get housing, how come we can't get this, how come we can't get that, it does not benefit. It does not benefit the interest of the system that's running everything. So I do agree. At some point in time, you have to say, you know what? My hope shouldn't be in this. My hope should be in creating something else. That's what my hope is. And that's what we have to look at. And until people wake up completely and say, you know what? What I'm hoping for is just an illusion. What I'm hoping for is just a dream. But my hope should be in something that will, as you said, Denise, liberate all of us to another place.
So here's what Deidre says. Most of us have assimilated into whiteness, which is where we don't belong. We should have been getting as far away as possible, but we got closer to them. Their diabolical systems can only be destroyed by another system, which we don't have right now, thus Build Black. Everyone did not deserve or want a ticket on the Underground Railroad. Stop asking for shit from people that overtly want you to disappear. These are her exact words. Everyone did not deserve or want a ticket on the Underground Railroad. Stop asking for shit from people that overtly, meaning they're clear about it, that want you to disappear. And then Lo says that old Negro spiritual, my hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. Like many of us know that song. And my argument this morning is hope is dead. Because the hope that you have that we were talking about from Jesse Jackson about keep hope alive, you're hoping in a system that does not care about you. And you keep waiting and waiting and waiting and hoping and hoping and hoping for the system to finally figure itself out. The system is never going to do that. So Deidre says, hope and Jesus is dead. Y'all cutting up. Hope and Jesus is dead. And so that's where the hope is. And so in order for us to say, okay, Denise, you're telling me hope is dead. If you're telling me hope is dead and I got a whole bunch of hope, what am I going to do if I listen to you today? If I heed your words and say, you know what, I agree with you, because I haven't been saying it, but Lo has been agreeing with me a few times on here. If you say I agree with you, then I'm going to kill hope. I'm going to bury this hope. But then what do I have? I'm so glad you asked, because I don't like people that want to critique and don't offer a solution. And so the solution is living outside of the system. If you take Roberta Flack's words and you substitute Pharaoh for the system, Roberta Flack says to us, my people, let the system go. My people, let the system go. You don't want these trinkets. Don't be worried about no trinkets. That's not what you want. First of all, she says, you've been down too long. You've been down too long. I need you to go up, my people. I need you to go up, my people. You've been down too long. Let the system go. You don't need the system. You don't need its tricks. You don't need its trinkets. All you have to do is just decide to let the system go. That's all you have to do. And then you can live outside of it like Black folks been doing since the beginning. Let me get this caller. Caller, you're live on the air, KABF at 8.3. Thanks for calling.
I'm sorry to call back. Here's one quick thing I would like to say about Jesus for a lot. Our people don't know. We was in the highest heaven, rulers of the planet Earth. We ascended all the way into hell, the depths of hell. You done shed your blood on damn near every tree in the world. Sins of these wicked ass people. You need to understand what you believe. I don't know what's wrong with my people. But that man ain't gonna give you a damn everything is free. It ain't gonna help us. We have to do it. What about our entertainment? We put you in power, we give you money, and then when you give them money, we don't see you in the neighborhood, in no grocery store. Not a damn thing realizing. So I'm highly upset at the preacher. I'm upset with our people that we support. Yes, if you're a black and got a millionaire, you had a black mom and a black dad probably that supported your ass to get there. You owe it to your people.
Thank you, Colin. The call, y'all on fire. This, I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it. I really love what the caller said about Jesus being somebody that we revere so much because he was crucified, dead, and buried, right? That's what we say, especially in the Nicene Creed. And on the third day, he arose from the dead. He's sitting at the right hand of God, the Father Almighty. From thence he shall come to judge the dead. I believe in the Father. That's what we say, right? And then the caller said, well, wait a minute. If that's what it takes to be God, to shed your blood on a tree, that's all my people have done, is shed blood on you. So here God is right here in front of you. And what do? You treat us like we're nothing, and it's by design with your system. And so this is what Deidre said, do like Fannie Lou Hamer said, and get up off your knees and do something. And the something that I'm offering you to do, as I say to you, hope is dead, kill that, dead that. Begin to think about what it would take for you to realize and recognize that it is possible for you to live outside of this system. You don't need Pharaoh. Pharaoh needs you. Imagine if you're talking about dealing a blow to the system, if you're talking about dismantling the system of whiteness, dismantling the system of white inhumanity, what if we divested from it and built our own system where we are now competition for them? Babe, you talking about they're going to be scrambling then. They're going to be trying to figure it out. They're going to be worried because they don't want any competition. And how they keep us from being competition is to have us working for them, slaving for them, being their free labor. But we can do it all by ourselves if we would, but number one, recognize that hope is dead. That's my argument this morning. And number two, let the system go. And Roberta Flack said, all you gotta do is just do it. Wake up in the morning. It ain't hard. You ain't gotta get no plan together. You ain't gotta strategize about it. You don't have to have no meet. We ain't gotta call nobody to order. Just do it. Stop living in the system. Now, are there steps to take to do that? Yes. But once you make your mind up to do it, you'll follow what's in your mind. Because what do the people tell us? You see what you say. Toney, you need to say something because they don't got one about less than a minute.
Great conversation, but eventually that's going to have to happen for Black people to move forward. Is that they're going to have to learn to live outside the system.
Okay, it's almost time. Your girl Lola is waiting in the wings with 2 hours of jazz coming up right here. And one of the things, listen, y'all gotta listen to this jazz. I just want to confess right now, I was not really a jazz enthusiast before I met your girl Lola. But now listening to her every Tuesday as much as I can, I find myself at night adding jazz to my playlist. I'm like, okay, you educated me, you are enlightening me, you are changing me, and that's what KABF 88.3 FM is all about. Thank you so much for joining us for Community Voices, where we are not always live, but we are here on Tuesdays from 9 to 10. Cannot wait to see you. We'll see you on Thursday is the health corner, and then next week with Monday, next week with Tuesday. Thank you so much. We'll holler at you in a minute. Right now I want to get you started so we can have your women. Your girl Lola always starts with the women on Tuesdays. Here's Jill Scott singing A Long Walk Home. Talk to y'all soon.
Look at this. That was something. Boy, you got